along with Taylor Goldsmith and Mike Viola. We're super excited to be here for Creator Sessions and excited to play some music and share some stories behind the music as well.
Today's Creator Session features an artist that we all know. Mandy Moore is, as you know, a celebrated actress and recording artist. Her latest album, Silver Landings, was released in March of 2020 and comes after over a decade-long hiatus. She wrote this album alongside her husband, Taylor Goldsmith of Dawes, and it was produced by Mike Viola. You'll notice the synergy the three of them have together during the session. Everything just feels comfortable. I read an article where Mandy described how making this album ultimately made her feel like a fully realized version of herself again. She found her way back to music with this album, and we are so excited to share a piece of this homecoming on Creator Sessions.
This song, if that's what it takes. So we'd kind of written the bulk of the record. For the most part. I mean, we've established, the three of us wrote this record together, and I work on a television show and the schedule's sort of nutty, and I remember we had this 1 week break in like the fall, like October of last year, and we all sort of like penciled it in to go to Nashville because we wanted to finish the record. There were a couple of friends there we wanted to write with, and we started with Lori McKenna. We wrote this song the first day with Lori, and it just like, it sort of cemented a sentiment that I didn't feel like we had captured otherwise. Yeah. It's more sentimental. It's definitely a love song, but it's still like doesn't take itself too seriously, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think having the firepower of Lori McKenna in the room with us gave us the license to like go there and be like, we're good, right?
It was a lot of energy, and I feel like we gave ourselves permission maybe like lyrically to talk about things that we wouldn't necessarily like...
Yeah, throw images in there that like...
Yeah, and she was
typically.
She was such a champion for that, and I was like, cool. Then
it was like the weirder the better.
Birthday cake? Like, okay, yeah, we can say birthday cake. Yeah. Like, I just loved that. You know, there is this like Nashville mentality of like, there really aren't rules when it comes to that, the way that lyric writing happens in songs there. So I'm glad that we got like a little taste of that.
Totally.
For this.
I remember being almost wrapped with the record, and we could have finished the record.
Yeah.
But you really had it in your mind that you wanted to go to Nashville.
To Nashville, yeah.
And it was the best thing that happened. Mm-hmm. That was a really fun trip.
I mean,
and fruitful.
Yeah. It was
between this song and Silver Landings, like they're two of my favorite songs on the record, and it was a totally different tone. Like I think for us, just like getting out of our heads and getting out of LA, like made such a profound difference.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So should we try it?
All right.
So, how do we start this thing? How about you kind of...
Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
On the days you need to drift, I'll be your swimming pool. You need some space, I'll be your miles and miles afloat. On the nights you need a drink, I'll be your neon sign. Oh baby, if that's what it takes. Day in bed, you'll be my doctor's note. And whenever I find trouble, you'll be my first phone call. And be easy. Oh, baby, it told me we won't try. Told me we won't try. Told me we won't try. Be the birthday cake while the world turns itself inside out. We'll be the butterfly when they're burning the carnival down. We'll stay on the Ferris wheel. Oh, baby, if that's what it takes. Oh, baby, if that's what it takes. That's what it takes. So that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Nice. There's some weird lyrics in that song. I love it. As I was singing it, I'm like, oh wow, yes, swimming pool. There's a lot going on. So Extraordinary. This was the first single off of my last record, Wild Hope, that came out like 11 years ago.
Well, 2 records ago, because...
Oh, 2 records ago. That's right. It came out in 2007. Sorry. So like,
2007.
ooh, I was thinking of Amanda Lee.
Yeah.
So Wild Hope, we recorded this record in upstate New York in this like fabulous studio, as you know, the place the record business was in back then, where it's like, take all of the money you want and
You find the players you need, man.
yes, totally.
You go do it.
Yes. So it was this like fancy affair, like with the leaves changing upstate in Woodstock. And I wrote like 4 songs, I think, on that record with the Weepies, with Deb and Steve, who are husband and wife, like incredible musicians and songwriters and performers. And we actually wrote all of the music here in California because they used to live here. And I remember talking to them about wanting to write something that felt positive, that felt uplifting, that was sort of a song that felt soaring and like an anthem in a small way for like championing yourself. And that's sort of where the song emanated from. And we were preparing to go on tour a couple months ago. We were just starting to like get into the rehearsals of like what other songs we were going to incorporate into the live show. And I went back and like listened to this song. And I remember I was driving down the road and I just like burst into tears because there was something about it for me that I just was like, oh, little Mandy like had no idea like the strength that she had, like that I needed to write the song and I wanted to write the song at this point in my life. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea what like a decade later was in store for me. I was in my early 20s and just thinking that like, you know, as you do at that age, like you know it all. Yeah. You've done it all, you've seen it all, you felt it all. And so hearing the song for the first time in a long time, I was just like, oh, I like just had this very instant emotional reaction of like, you knew nothing. But it's funny because I look at it as sort of a baby step to Silver Landings. Yeah. Like to me, it's the precursor for Save a Little. Yeah. For that song, it just feels like they go hand in hand. It's a similar sentiment, but like
one's a little more weathered and
you've always had that fighter in you. I think that's why you've kept your head above water when some of your other peers kind of went off the rails a little bit.
I mean, that's very kind of you. I
You've had the fighter spirit in you.
I mean,
the survivor spirit.
It's funny. This sentiment is something I feel like I'm just constantly wanting to revisit in life. Like, I love that idea of we all need that pick-me-up. We all need, like, a song to remind ourselves, like, you're doing great. Like, keep putting one foot in front of the other. And that's, like, what this feels like, the sweet 22-year-old version of it. But, yeah, let's try it.
Cool.
What are the words? I was a daydream. Yeah.
Does that feel like a good tempo?
Yeah. I like that. I was a daydream, quiet and unseen, flying in perfect circles just for company. I was a starling, nobody's darling, flying in perfect circles just for company. Now I'm ready, now I'm ready, now I'm ready to be extraordinary. A midnight airplane, a window glowing. I know I am another sparkle in the sky. I shine uncovered, still undiscovered, but you might see me in the corner of your eye. Now I'm ready, now I'm ready, now I'm ready to be extraordinary. Waking up to a week of Sundays, I got my own parade, stopping off at a sidewalk cafe. Wind is playing in the trees, kicking up confetti leaves. Seems as if it's so to say. And now I'm ready, now I'm ready, now I'm ready to be. Now I'm ready, now I'm ready, now I'm ready to be extraordinary. Extraordinary. I like the clam in the middle.
What clam?
I think you went a little early.
Maybe I just was like, someone's got to cue
I'll
it off.
take that clam.
15. 15 was a song that we wrote, the three of us wrote with Jason, right?
With Jason.
With our friend Jason Bozell.
Three
and
times.
we
wrote this song 3 times.
We wrote it a lot. I think because it was so important. Like, to me, even though this wasn't the first song written for the record, it was sort of the catalyst for making the record.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I recognized there was a lot of emotional baggage, and my relationship to music and the music industry and being an artist and all of that was so wrapped up in how I started. And so I think there was, like, real true catharsis in, like, writing this song and acknowledging it and showing, like, tipping my hat, showing appreciation for this young girl that I carry around with me today to make music, to live my life. And I feel like for so long I ignored it. I chastised her. I was embarrassed of her and what I was doing at that point in my career, that, like, there was just this real revelation for me in writing this song. And, like, it's a release. And I think that's why it, like, took us so long to get there. It's like, I remember the first time we wrote it and recorded it, it was, like, way more, like, bombastic. Like, it was, like a real.
What was it called?
No exceptions.
No exceptions.
Yeah, no exceptions. Yeah. Like it was a real like I don't know, like heartfelt sort of, but like rockery kind of.
Well, it was like the verses were.
It wasn't as good, but it was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
It was just a different song.
But the verses had this beautiful, real story.
Yeah.
And then the chorus came, and it kind of shut down.
Yeah.
The empathy you had.
Totally.
We struggled with that.
We did. Yeah, there's 3 different like recorded versions of this song.
In 3 completely different.
Written, yeah.
Like
versions.
the top line, the lyrics, the melody, it's the same. Remember that?
But the progression changed. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, and then like when we rewrote it, we didn't even know what the title was going to be. I think we finished the song, and you were like 15.
It's funny because we played this benefit last year and we were like, oh, let's do that song. We didn't have like a real arrangement. We hadn't recorded this version of it. And it was like that version on stage is where it came to life and gave us the real, I remember the real idea of like, that's it. So like, that's what we have to do in the studio. Yeah. And it was like owed a lot, obviously, to you, but like the band and Sean and Sarah Watkins, who played that particular benefit, like Sarah's harmonies and her fiddle, like playing. It was just.
And we got her to play on the.
We got her to play on the and it was like, this is what we've been waiting for. Like it took waiting till like the very end of the record before it was like due to finally figure that out.
I think that benefit was in November.
It was. Yeah. And it was we went in the studio like the next week or something.
Like that. Yeah. So cool. We were sitting at my dining room table and we had sort of wrapped the song and like, what are we gonna call this? And you had like, we had pens and paper everywhere and you had like put down your pen. You're like, it's called 15. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah. Yeah. Remember that? Oh, yeah. I remember that pretty vividly.
That's funny. Let's try it. Young girl.
Ready?
Yeah. Young girl, up early, wasn't old enough to drive. Took a trip from Seminole County with a mother by her side. Next stop, New York City, world was falling at her feet. She thought she was making music, but she was only filling seats. No regrets, with a few exceptions. Every wrong turn was the right direction. And still a part of me, still a part of me. Glow sticks, pink cotton candy, a touch of glitter on her lips. On parade for the radio station, so they'll play her biggest hits. Miss prom, miss graduation, no college in the fall. On the road with the boy band singing for the people in the mall. No regrets, with a few exceptions. Learning to love all the imperfections that are still a part of me, still a part of me, still a part of me, still a part of me. between the demo and the lonely public eye. So real famous without even knowing why. No regrets with a few exceptions. Learning to love all the imperfections. Every wrong turn was the right direction. Still a part of me, still a part of me, still a part of me, still a part of me. Nice, guys.
Cool.
Nice.
There have been so many great moments in this creator session. For me, I loved learning more about her song 15. Maybe because I watched that season of her life as a fan, and now, 20 years later, I get to hear her perspective in a much more personal setting. My favorite lyric, "Every wrong turn was the right direction." I don't know about you, but I majorly relate to that feeling. This next song is one that I wish the world could have on repeat. Its message, and especially now, is so important. It's completely agnostic on who it's talking to, but it is especially true for creators and artists. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this episode, but most importantly, please remember that our mission is to help creators. If you loved Silver Landings, go listen to the album on Spotify and put this next song on repeat.
Save a Little for Yourself was a song we wrote with our friend Sean. I don't know. I mean, again, to sort of like tap into that same vein of extraordinary, it was like, this was a song that like I needed to write, to say, to be able to sing on stage every night. Like just that idea of this is a lesson that I will forever be learning. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. Just like, we live in a world where we give so much to everybody else and everything else that I think sometimes it's hard, you know, to like make sure that we have reserved something for us first and foremost.
A little self-care.
Self-care.
It's important.
Very important right now, specifically.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the utmost importance right now, especially. But yeah, so that's kind of what I feel like this song is really touching on, in sort of a universal way, but very personal and specific for me, which I guess is what all music sort of is, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And this was one that I think when we were writing it, we were like, oh yeah, we felt good. We're like, this is a fun one. Like, this is one that feels like it's got a life of its own. Like, we could sort of hear what it was going to sound like in the studio before we even recorded it.
Yeah. True, and I remember feeling when it arrived, like, all we have to do is not break this.
Yeah.
Don't complicate it. And there was a few little, like, seasoned, like, songwritery things that we did, but that's kind of it. It's just a pure idea.
We tried to do a round, which didn't work.
Yeah, we tried to do that.
Yeah, because we're like, there's 3 hooky parts to this song.
But it still sounds so good on my voice memo. Like, we tried really hard.
The round? I know. We tried
really
in the studio, like, maybe live, we totally could have made that happen, like with the crowd. Like, you guys are this part, you guys are this part, and you're this part.
Maybe.
Maybe that's pie in the sky, but yeah, I loved that.
Speaking of like singer-songwritery things, like changing the key for the chorus.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if a non-musical listener would know, but I feel like, I hope that it adds like a release to it that like you didn't, like another gear of release.
Yeah. No, nice.
You didn't think a song could do, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like when it gets into the chorus and you're in this new sonic universe, it's just like, oh wow, it's so much more open than I thought it could have been.
Huh.
So true.
True.
So true.
Shall we try it?
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah. Not all pain is black and blue. never give it all away. Save a little for some help, you know you're gonna need someday. You got a lot of love, enough to go around. Save a little for yourself. Save a little. Save a little. Found some things you can't control, somewhere down the rabbit hole. And if you wanna stop feeling invisible, it doesn't take a miracle. Save a little for yourself, never give it all away. Save a little for some help, you know you're gonna need someday. You got a lot of love, enough to go around. Save a little for yourself. Save a little love, it's gonna be right there where you left it. Love, it's gonna be closer than you think. Love, it's gonna be all that we are left with. 'Cause the love that you give is only as good as the love that you keep. It's only as good as the love that you give. It's only as good as the love that you keep. Save a little for yourself, never give it all away. Save a little for some help, you know you're gonna need someday. You got a lot of love, enough to go around. Save a little for yourself. Save a little love. Save a little love. Save a little. Save a little love. Cool.
Fun.
Fun.
Very Wings, that ending.
Yeah, it is. When I Wasn't Watching was technically the first song we wrote for the album.
Really?
Well, because you and Jason and I worked on it in like 2016.
Oh,
I have a voice note of that from your old house.
A bunch of like weird nonsense lyrics. Not
Yeah.
nonsense, but just like...
It was a totally different song, and I remember we were finishing up writing, obviously, with Jason, I think, at your house, Mike, and I was like flipping through the voice notes on my phone. I was like, oh, remember this song, babe? And you just were like, wait, what is that? And we immediately were like, we've got to work on that one. That's a cool one. Because it was very like piano driven on the like the demo. Dong ding, dong dong. Yeah, I just remember being excited that you wanted to like revitalize it. And we reworked it and rewrote
they had
lyrics.
The chorus, but no other lyrics.
Yeah, all the lyrics were
It
different.
didn't have a verse.
No, it didn't.
I remember I heard like the Men at Work style.
Yeah,
like,
we totally changed it.
and you were like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
I remember that being strange and fun energy to go into a
dabba
song
dabba
that's-
dooba dabba da. I was like, whoa, this is not what I was expecting.
You kept singing like,
Hey, oh my god, remember that?
Yes. Oh man.
I was thinking Men at Work. It's funny though how ideas, I've talked to you guys about this before, but a lot of times for me, songs come from a joke.
Right.
Like having fun.
Yeah.
Not a joke like kind of just poking fun.
Sure.
And that part of
Like being goofy.
oh, totally.
yeah,
Like,
really good ideas come from
like
there.
my favorite guitar riffs are from me trying to just make a guitar riff joke of like, this is too much, right?
Yeah,
And you're
exactly.
Like, I love playing that. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's a good example. That verse it's just like, could it be this?
Yeah.
We have a couple songs on the record like that.
Yeah.
On your album like that.
That they just sort of became like they found a life of their own, and it worked. We were like, yeah, because it is inherently fun to sing.
Yeah.
And then it just like took on this like again like new soaring sort of meaning like identity and what we bring to the table, and like all of our baggage that like you know sort of like adds and mixes in with like the present. And I don't know, it just like it became something that felt like more oddly like anthemic in its own way. Again, like that's it's a small song still, but I loved that it felt like a very appropriate way to sort of reintroduce myself. We didn't know at the time, but like to the music world. It felt like the right message, and but also very indicative of the confusion and all of the emotions that sort of went into me figuring out how to find my way back to music. It's like it was all sort of in that world and in that sort of like lyrical chain of like those questions that most people ask themselves at a certain point in their life or all the time. But it just felt very appropriate, I think, for like this juncture of my life and career. Like, holy crap, like where was I when that was all happening? Was I a witness to it? Was I checked out? And I think that song sort of speaks to that.
Yeah, and also the other side of it, like when you're not looking, sometimes beautiful things happen.
Yeah.
And that's sort of in the tune.
Yeah, like that revelation too of like, oh wow, it was all kind of there all along.
It's like breathing, letting go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say the track on this recording still is one of my favorite recordings I've ever been involved with.
Really?
Yeah, it's Taylor's riff was so weird. I remember because as I remember, like I really had my producer hat on, and I was like really struggling, and I was struggling to find out why it was broken. We were trying to figure it out, and you grabbed that Ibanez Echo, remember that? And you came up with this weird ass riff, and then your brother Griff, and then Davey. It was just like such a magical.
Yeah.
You just like sang it and brought it to a special place, but. Yeah, I love it.
It has like a certain magic to it that I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun to play.
It's fun to play.
Let's play it.
Let's play it.
Okay. One, two, three, four.
Was going down, maybe sleeping in, maybe out of town. Spent a whole life waiting patiently, convinced it all would come to me. My favorite version of me disappeared through longer days and shorter years. Where was I when this was going down? Assumed the world would come around to who we are. No one is looking. No one is looking. When I became, when I wasn't watching, when I wasn't a little rough. I ask myself, have you had enough? How do I start to retrace the steps I haven't even taken yet? The fear of what I'm facing in the mirror stops me cold and leaves me here. A little lost, a little rough. The lack of answers all add up to who we are. No one is looking. No one is looking. When I became, when I wasn't watching, when I wasn't watching. was it watching? I was it watching. That was fun.
That was fun.
Cool.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Creator Sessions. I'm Mandy, Mike Viola, Taylor Goldsmith. We had such a blast sharing the tunes with you, sharing some sort of behind the scenes info on how the tunes sort of came about. And yeah, can't wait to do it again with you.